Welcome to another episode of IIM MBA, which is a podcast by IIM Sirmaur. Today, we have the pleasure of hosting Mr. Tanay Chothani. He's the CEO of TravelXp, which is the world's leading experiential travel brand. This episode is going to be an interrogating industries episode where we are going to dissect what the tourism industry looks like. We are going to see what are the changes which are taking place in this industry and what are the skills we could learn to become better leaders. Yeah. So we start the podcast with like we have a tradition where we ask you to introduce yourself. We know you, but we want to know you beyond what's written on the web. So
Okay.
yeah.
So I am Tanay. I basically lead everything digital at TravelXp. So under my domain comes the product which is travelxp.com, which is this one
Hmm.
interface which allows you to not only watch great travel content, which helps you plan your travel better, but then also allows you that while you're watching that content to go in and book. So the entire marketing, product development, the entire back end of that is all run by teams that I work with and teams that report to me. Other than that, I am someone who genuinely loves building businesses, solving business problems, and creating new innovative approaches to doing things. So that's who I am.
Okay, that's a good introduction. So I also want to ask, what does a typical day in your life feels like?
A typical day in my life usually, so over the years I've come to set up a routine now because it's been 7 years of working. So my typical routine now is, when I get up in the morning before I leave home, typically it starts with the gym, and then after that, just before I leave home, I sort of have a mental map of what previous tasks from the previous day are there pending, which are important. I then have, say, a short 25-30 minute run through with each of my teams. So I'll probably sit 25 minutes with the marketing team, then 25 minutes with the product team, then with my sales team. And then we slot out certain things which require me to be there directly. And if any team is facing any problem, so then we set up meetings for the remainder part of the day till around 5:36. After that, I'm probably doing an end of day wrap up with all of my teams and then going back home, having dinner, and then probably meeting some friends before I go back to sleep.
Okay. So I want to understand like what competitive strategies does TravelXP have?
Okay, so this is with regards to, because there are different businesses and verticals we operate in. So what
Yeah,
business or vertical is this relating to?
like the travel content that you have.
Okay, so the competitive strategies we have is that we were sort of the pioneers for 4K travel content in the world. So we started 4K content back in 2016, and gradually building on that, we're now even recording in ultra 4K or what we call 8K. So what we've
Okay.
always had as a competitive strategy, and the number one USP of Travel XP has always been the quality of the content. So even
Hmm.
now, when you switch on Travel XP, either on the OTT platform or on any television service provider you have, you'd always notice the difference between what is Travel XP lifestyle content and the rest of the, whereas if it's YouTube or any other channel or so on. So you'll always see that difference. The other thing which we've done is what we believe is we're globally local. So we've always thought that we wanted to be a global player. And one way which we thought it would be worth doing that was, when you have McDonald's come to India, it doesn't sell you an American burger, it sells you Mac Aloo Tikki. So what we
Hmm.
also believe is that if we want to be a global brand, when we go to say a country like Germany, we don't want to present content with necessarily Indian anchors speaking in an Indian accent. We want the
Hmm.
content to be talked in German and appeal to a German audience. So we try to create shows according to our audiences, and we try to be globally local in every geography. So that if we're working in 120 countries, which we are today, we're probably relevant to all of those audiences.
So how do you manage that? Like going and tailoring content to for every specific country. That must be.
So I think there are two major parts. One is sort of understanding the consumer, and second is accessibility. So when I say
Hmm.
understanding the consumer, it's that every country has a different set of, say, cultural themes. As Indians, we consume some content. The cultural theme may be a parent child dynamic. We,
Hmm.
as Indians, some of the cultural themes we have is, we're all aware of, okay, Indians have a pressure to succeed, to do well, to do better than your postmates. But when I
Hmm.
say go to another country, say Germany, the cultural context may change. So we spend a
Hmm.
lot of time and research in trying to understand what the different cultural nuances of every country, and what the customer or the person who's consuming the content in each country, what are things he relates to. So recently, when we made a show which was also broadcast, which was a live premiere in the Finland embassy, that show was related to a Ukrainian refugee who then, after moving from Ukraine to Norway, then went to explore Finland. So
Hmm.
the mother takes her daughter to Finland, makes her explore the entire country, and that is about moving on with life beyond the conflict. So that appeals to that audience. An Indian audience may not relate that much to it, but it appeals much more to the European audience, for whom the Ukraine conflict is a big thing, far bigger thing than it is for us. So we take a lot of interest in cultural nuances. The other part is accessibility. We need to ensure that, just like in India, we talk about ourselves being a country with a lot of languages. It's sort of similar for every other country in the world. So when we talk about Europe and other places like that, uh, you have a lot of different languages which these countries speak, and we've been very fortunate to be able to dub our content in more than 30 global languages. So when you watch Travel XP in Spain, you're probably not watching it in English or Hindi, you're watching it in Spanish. And when you're watching it in France, you're watching it in French. So that increases the accessibility to the local audience. They feel it is sort of their content. They don't feel they're watching content created by a team sitting in India.
Okay. So for that you need to hire global people like all the foreigners and all. So my next question would be, do you hire MBAs and what roles do you pick them in for?
So in our thing, we hire great people. We don't have any sort of separate filter where we're looking for any specific educational qualification or any sort of degree or past experience. We're looking for people who basically can contribute and help us grow. And for that, we hire people from across backgrounds. So we also do have certain MBAs who work in our team and who are very capable and efficient in their work. But likewise, we also have a lot of people who are not MBAs and who just have a hard passion and raw desire to want to create great travel experiences.
All right. So what skills are the most important that you feel is necessary to be working in TravelXP? Like
Uh,
what's what do you think is your philosophy of what an employee in TravelXP should be like?
so all team members in Travel XP, the common, everyone's obviously their own individual and they have their own skill sets as per the teams they're working in. But the common threads which we usually hire for, and which the HR is sort of tasked with always measuring, is hard work, passion, and attitude. So we feel the three things that really separate you are, we really want hard workers. That doesn't mean that you need to work 70 hours or 90 hours or 120 hours. Uh, we love Saturdays and Sundays off. But what we're
Hmm.
also looking for is people who genuinely, if they come in the day, they're accountable to their work. So if you come in the morning, set your own POA, your plan of action, and by the end of the day, you should have wanted to complete that, or either had a very solid, credible reason as to why that is not complete. So we're a very accountable, hardworking organization. We're also looking for very passionate people. So when we create such content or when we work on the booking side of things, it's not always easy to build out things where none exists. So
Hmm.
or set a footprint, as I told you, we're the first ones who did 4K. We're the first ones in India to create a content-driven commerce app. So where we're
Hmm.
operating a lot of, there's no past data, and because there's no past data or a success story we can learn from, you have to sort of build your own success story, and
Hmm.
along the way you're going to fail. So if you don't have the passion, you're probably not going to go through with it and you're going to keep switching. So we look for people who are very passionate. The final is attitude. So we don't necessarily look for people who are the most skilled. We look for people who have the right attitude, where they always want to keep learning. You're an MBA now, you obviously know about all the things going on around us with AI. So every day there is a new model coming out, which probably makes you seem like that everything you learned for the last 18 years of your life is going to be redundant in the next 2 years.
Hmm.
If that is what is going to be happening in the world, past knowledge does not count for anything. Do you have the right
Hmm.
attitude that when you get up every day, are you willing to learn? Are you willing to fight your battles? Are you positive about it? That's what matters more, because things around you are going to keep changing. So if you're just going to use what you're taught in college for the rest of your life, you're probably not going to succeed. So we always hire for hard work, passion, and attitude.
Okay. So also like when the COVID came, there must have been disturbances in your company. Like the travel content might have been working, but the bookings and the holiday packages might have not been. So what was the scenario and how did your company adapt to that?
Yeah, so I think, say, unlike some of the other travel agencies which only probably had travel bookings to rely on, they obviously faced a much bigger problem. We were relatively better placed because we had our TV division. That said, global advertising wasn't a big problem, so it was still tough, but not as tough maybe as for other players. What we decided in COVID is that we'd not let any member of our team go. So we did zero layoffs. We kept the entire team. We obviously, made it very transparent that obviously we have to maintain a certain amount of runway, and there probably isn't the financial ability in the company to, keep running at the same salary structure. So we did have cuts, but it was something which was very transparently communicated across the team, and we tried to ensure that at least the people who are at the base levels or the base two levels don't have to take any cuts, so that they can easily meet their expenditures. And say mid senior to senior management was the one compromising at a higher level. So we started off with that. And then because we had the team and probably nothing to do in travel bookings because it wasn't possible to do bookings, so we started this great initiative which we called COVID Help. So we
Hmm.
retrained our entire customer support team, and we made them very well versed in terms of leading. We made them very well versed in terms of leading, replying to customers on Twitter. So what we did is we spoke to some of our colleagues in Make My Trip, in Thomas Cook, and so on, and we created this entire initiative where if your travel agency is not being able to pick up your phone because they're probably busy and they're having a lot of queries to deal with, we'll help you out. And wherever possible, we'll use our industry network to secure a refund for you or get you out of wherever you're stuck, connect you back home, or whatever problem you're facing. So, like that, we probably helped approximately 7 to 10,000 people in a 6 month period. So, we had 18 people, 10 to 7, sitting daily, replying to people on Twitter. We ran this whole campaign. We published a case study on it as well. And that's what we did in COVID. We did it out of intention that we had nothing else to do. So, practically, rather than a person sitting and doing nothing, he probably do this, and at least he talks to customers. Touchwood, since then we've probably never had to market our business because since then we've only grown via referral.
Oh. So yeah, that's one thing that's very important to have a good leadership skill and to think beyond the basics. So I have a few more questions. So as a company, how do you balance profitability with expansion?
uh, so we're also bootstrapped. That lends that allows us to keep more control of our own capital allocation decisions. What we really do is we are very strategic about where we're investing. So we take a lot of time before creating a new vertical or expanding into a new project. But when we do, we go behind it with a very strategic outlook that when is this going to hit profitability. And we usually don't deep discount. We try to create value. We don't try to just grab market share. So which allows us that our expansion may not be as fast as what you may see in certain startups, but we're still growing at around a 40-50. Our new businesses are growing at a 40-50% say compounded annual growth rate. And then we leverage say maybe a 12-month 16-month break even, after which we're then able to pump in more money into that own project just by virtue of that project. We're also very big on building efficiency. So our tech team is in-house, and we try our best. Even we're very AI first as well right now. We're having a lot of different prompts which we use inside our company. We're automating a lot of operations. So we're very hardwired on trying to do everything in-house, which allows us to have more operational margins and also have more efficiency in the system. Because if something is not working as it's supposed to, we're able to switch that process very fast.
Okay. So also like how you manage the seasonality and the fluctuations that occur in it happens a lot in tourism, right?
So I'd say that we're still at that scale level where we're grabbing share from the market. So even if say there is one season which maybe say 80% of the other season, typically in our industry the monsoon season is usually less of a revenue season compared to the festive season. But because we're at that growth place where we're still, much smaller than the leaders, and there's a big room to grow. We've grown a lot over the last few years, and in some cases you could also be considered as a standalone big business in that respect for an online travel agency. But we're still much smaller than the ones we're competing with, which is the likes of a Make My Trip, a Booking.com, and Ixigo. So because we always have business to take from the market, I don't think seasonality affects us that much yet.
Okay. Also, like there's you said that you have 4K weaving, so your technology is advancing all the time. So how what do you feel that the tourism industry would change technology wise in the coming next 5 years, and do you have any plans to prepare for that beforehand?
So I feel with say AI and how the whole world of AI is changing, there's obviously a lot of scope for technological advancement in the travel industry. And with AI, we probably see it as a game changer, and a lot of people in the industry are also acknowledging AI as a game changer, not only for the travel industry but for say the way we work in general. Specifically for travel, one problem which is there is that travel is probably that one industry where you have so many different options, and to curate amongst these options is a very big challenge. You also have many layers. So for example, when you go for a trip, you're booking probably two flights, two different airlines, five hotels, 12 different activities, and then tomorrow if you need to do a cancellation, you're probably taking a lot of time to do that. But when it comes to AI can probably do 16 simultaneous calls and get the trip cancelled much faster than either you yourself or a human agent. So
Hmm.
it fundamentally will change the nature in which service is delivered in our industry, and also in the way we're able to curate options for users. So say today, if Chinmay is a traveler, for someone to create a specific package tailored to Chinmay, uh, it would take a lot of time, because if it's a human agent, they need to understand Chinmay to that level where they're actually able to suggest something. And it's not only Chinmay traveling, it's Chinmay's family as well. And if it is you yourself, even you're having to go through 20 websites, get all the rates, get all the comparisons, see what you like, what you don't like, and then make your trip. But when it comes to AI, you can probably give me one prompt about who you are, what you like, and I can give you 10 options, all the comparisons, what's good, what's not good for you, the entire cost in probably less than 30 seconds. And that can help you decide much faster than what you could do earlier. So I see the time to decision making reducing a lot. And because of that, people taking a lot many more trips. Because we're also simultaneously living in an ecosystem where travel for people under 35 today is probably one of the top three priorities in their life for most of the people. So, lesser decision making, more trips, and it's going to be a very positive impact on the tourism industry as a whole.
All right. And also about what, like the content which tourism is creating, like the video contents that you have, AI could also like power and create fake videos. So do you feel that this could be a problem?
I feel fake videos could be a problem, but maybe more with news, because fake videos are created in essence to get virality. So I don't think that they would get that much virality in travel. And in travel, the thing that happens is whenever you really like a piece of content, you actually want to experience it for yourself. So I feel what would happen is if someone is making a fake video of a travel destination, then when people actually go into want to explore that destination, experience it in the same way, they probably will not get that experience. Which means the person creating that content, whether it's a content creator, a brand, a travel agency, or a travel channel, or whatever, will lose the trust. And a content is a big trust game. You see Shah Rukh Khan, you like what a Shah Rukh Khan does, you expect him to act in a certain way. So when he doesn't do that, your trust is gone. So
Hmm.
I don't feel that with at least travel content, because people really want to explore and experience the same things for themselves. I don't think fake travel videos would be that big of a problem, because there is a loop where if a person goes to explore that doesn't get the same experience, that content creator sort of does not get repeat value. But what I feel would happen is it would become probably much easier. Sorry, it would probably become much easier to get uh, better content at your fingertips. So, say you're watching a YouTube video of 23 minutes and you want a quick summary of the whole thing and the top five places in this which probably match your profile. So, that video could easily be divided into 10 chapters, and only those five chapters are pushed to you which you are interested in. So, it could
Hmm.
create personalization in video. which probably has never happened. Video's always been one to many, but it could probably mean that you and your friend could be watching the same large content piece from the organization, but consuming only the parts which you are interested in, which is very fascinating.
Yes. So, is your company preparing for these changes, like these AI changes?
Definitely. So we're very big on the impact of AI and what it could do. We've started using a lot of AI in-house, and we're trying to develop alongside AI as well. So in the first phase, we're doing a lot of the service part of it because that's generally easier with the chatbot equations that are there now. But we're also experimenting a lot on the content piece. But I feel the content piece, the entire technology is not there yet. That's probably what we may
Mm.
get, say, phase two of the AI revolution or phase three. But the entire part of automating service and building, bringing customer value more instantaneously, that part is already there, and we've also deployed a lot of that where automating a lot of the SEO pages we make. We're also we've created an AI chatbot which ensures that at any time of the day when you put in a message you get an instant response within 30 seconds. We also have this feature called rate match where if you give a screenshot from any website, the AI will automatically detect if that is the final price on the website and then roll out a custom coupon to you. So we're trying to create these more engaging ways of communicating with our customer.
Okay. So, also, like when I saw your profile, you said that you want to create a boundaryless world. So, could you please elaborate on that?
So create a boundaryless world for us at Travel XP has always been a. It's about geographies. We want to help people access more countries and create those travel experiences which make them feel like they should go to another country and explore it. But it's also about removing barriers to travel. So that has involved us then going more local in terms of languages. So just because say you're not well versed with English, it should not mean that you don't get access to the best travel content out there. So it involves us going more hyper local, subtitling and dubbing our language, our content in more languages. So it is about increasing the accessibility so that there is no restriction which does not allow you to travel the way you want to, and that typically would be what boundaryless would be for us.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to clarify that. So, also, the next question would be, in your experience of working with Travel XP, what do you think that what is something that you learned that you think that everyone should at some point in their life?
Something that I learned that everyone should.
Yeah, you feel that
uh,
everyone should.
I I can speak from the point of view of an entrepreneur, and also because I talk to a lot of different people who are either starting their own business or want to at someday. I feel that firstly, you really have to trust your people and your processes. No great business can be built without processes, and a lot of companies don't invest as much time in creating processes and training their people in those processes as they should. So one thing which has worked very well for us, and which I hope which every business should do, is work a lot on processes. The other thing is patience. It's not that easy to build a company. And there's this one saying that most startups which fail don't fail because they've run out of money, but because the founder has run out of patience. So, when this world where you always see stats that companies are 2xing, 3xing every year, people are, getting 40% appraisals, 60% appraisals, and it just seems like a rat race to be growing very fast. But in general, every company has their own journey. So Zeroda built for 7 years till eventually COVID happened and everyone was investing in the stock market, but for 7 years they were not growing that fast. Nvidia
Hmm.
has probably been building for 22 years before the entire AI revolution happened, and suddenly they became the world's most valuable company. So every company has their own journey, and what that requires is patience. So as long as you're doing what you have to do and trust your gut and build on what you have to do, have that patience to allow the whole equation to pan out.
Okay. So, also, I would ask you, what are the major trends which are going on in the travel industry? What do you feel are the major trends?
So when I talk about specifically India, some of the major trends which we're seeing, and one of the biggest trends firstly is outbound travel. So everyone in India today wants to take an international holiday, and it's become more accessible than ever before. It's also become more desirable than ever before. So just because of this, outbound travel is projected to grow at something like 46% year on year now, up till 2030, 2035. and just 3 crore people in India, which is less than say 3% of Indians travel for take foreign trips currently. We expect this number to at least go till 8 or 10%. So that's going to be a big change. Another trend is that a lot of people in tier 2 and tier 3 cities are now taking flights, and it's leading to a big surge in aviation, big growth in aviation. You probably have cities like Lucknow which are building airports which have a capacity of 15 million, 20 million, which probably was unheard of 10 years back. So flying is becoming much more democratic, and because of that, you're going to see a lot of cheaper fares. You're going to see a lot of new airlines, a lot many more people demanding better service, and also a lot of people taking international holidays.
Right. That's a wrap for another episode of IIM MBA. A big thanks to Mr. Tanay Chothani for sharing his valuable perspectives. We hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as we did. If you found this insightful, we hope you share, subscribe, and stay tuned to IIM MBA for more such content. Stay curious.